guys. It's the 15th of May. We have a nice day out here. Just beautiful. It's so cool here compared. I mean, we're actually sleeping under the covers. With the fan on, it just gets too chilly. Even the kids. Normally, Momo and Maddie will pull the covers off at night, even with the fan blowing on them. But here, they're covering up too, so it's pretty nice. Mama had to head back home. Her neighbor, her friend of many years, has been sick, very very sick. So she wants to go and see what she can do. That's her buddy. So, and here I just like to tell a lot of you folks, if you're planning on coming here and you got major health issues, it's definitely not the place for you. Just quick examples. We were in traffic yesterday, and there was an ambulance coming down the road behind us, and I cut over to make room for him, and I was the exception. I was the only one who got out of the way. That ambulance sat behind me for 10 minutes in the traffic. Well, we left at about 5 o'clock here in Lipa, and it was just horrible. My wife said, she wanted to go, and I'm like, oh come on, why do you pick this time? Why do you pick this time to go? And it's just a nightmare over there. So, we're learning the times not to go, and 5 o'clock in the afternoon is not the time to go to Lipa. Maybe if on a bike would be okay. That would be fine. We're not doing anything with the bike until we get the house finished. So, but we're just chilling right now. We did get the guys came and got rid of the big pile of stuff here yesterday, and it was construction sand. They need it. They have to have it for making their mortar and stuff. So it wasn't trash or anything. There was some trash on the top, construction trash, but most of it was big bags of sand. But I'm glad they got out of it. I did see a rat go in there, but what was happening? There was a nest of kitties in there. Well, now they moved over. They're over there. The mother is hunting. I saw her coming yesterday with a mouse. I guess that was to feed her little ones. We're not feeding the cat. She was hanging around here a little bit, and I just stomped my feet like that, and they ran. Now she's more over there. But I have seen the little ones. I seen her bringing a mouse into that pile over there. So hopefully they move on. I don't need anything coming in here ripping stuff up. But yeah, we're gonna miss Mama. It's always nice to have her around. We can't communicate very good because the English Tagalog thing, but it's always nice to have her around. That's for sure. But again, I just want to reiterate on this stuff. If you got health problems, we do know one fella here. A British fella. He had. You could visibly see this man had terrible health problems, really bad, and he moved right over by the Asian Medical Center. He got a place very close to there, and then he has some hired guys that are really big. I mentioned him in a video way back. Some big fellas that can. The way he hired him, he was telling, and I like the guy. I've met him and talked to him many times. I don't know if he's still living or not. I haven't heard from him, but he actually was in a chair, and when he was doing the interview for his guys to hire, he had them pick him up and carry him outside. That was his thing, and he got the guys hired, and they were there with him. But plenty of money, plenty of money. Us guys, we budget. We're very frugal. I still have I want money going into these kids' accounts. Every month we could go ahead and just spend it all and be in retirement, but I'm not going to do that. I want to keep money so these kids got a pretty nice future. I do have a plan on getting them homes built. Not going to be no big fancy house. It's going to be a typical Filipino house, but we're gonna find out. One of you guys in there, I think it was Heine. I hope I didn't pronounce that wrong, but you said find out about the lots in this thing, and we will. We're gonna find out how much these lots are up front. But there's a lot of other places. I think when you get away from out, the farther out you go from here, I really liked that town of Malvar. That was just absolutely fantastic. And also when you head towards this Padre Garcia, it seems like it's more of a country farming type area, because I see silos and, you know, they sell chicken feeds and there's mills and things over there. And the people seem like they're doing okay. I saw a lot of nice cars. I saw plenty of new motorcycles. You don't see so many of the tricycles that are just all trashed and beat. You know, they're just not. We have found out, my wife, when we were getting tricycle prices, she's one who will go and ask. She'll stop and ask all the tricycle drivers, what would you charge for that? Because there were a couple of them wanted to charge way too much for us, you know, for us to get a ride. She rides around on those tricycles. Me, I don't fit in them, guys. If you come here and you're big, you can forget it. But I would recommend, if you get here to get yourself I still say get yourself a bike if you want to move around. It's cool doing the local transportation if you're not as tall as me. I don't do well with my back in a jeepney. For me, it's like climbing into a dog box trying to climb to the front of a jeepney, especially with legs all in there. I can't get up to the front, so I sit in the back, and you're like riding on a buckboard, almost like no suspension at all. Plus, I'm scrunched down. My wife, she'll sit in the car and say, "Oh, look at that." Well, she's got to remember her little head is way down here, and she can see up. When I turn over and I look out, all I can see is maybe the top of a car door when I'm looking out. I can't, you know, I got to duck down to see this stuff, and she'll be showing me building. Oh, look at this, and I just can't see it. Same in a jeepney. I've missed my spot so many times in a jeepney because I cannot see out of them unless I put my head in my knees, and so I don't like them. Tricycles are just, I have to sit behind the driver, and then when there was the COVID stuff going on, you weren't allowed to do that, so I couldn't use them at all because I don't fit in the little eggshell thing on the side. You know, felt like Mork from Ork in one of those things. I just don't fit. I did take a ride one time from GMA to our house in one. I was just going to walk it, but then my neighbor come by and he says, "I'll give you a ride." And I mean, I was basically laying down with my knees in the air. It just was ridiculous. They're just too small for American-sized folks. Even guys, I'd say if you're 6'2" or so, it's pretty dang tight. And some of you guys can probably attest to that. But we're getting there. I haven't seen any places breaking ground here. You know, they talked about they're going to be building a lot of other places. I haven't seen too much. They're still working on the house over there. They seem to be moving along on that one. It's a bigger unit. I think they got about 5 or 6 different types of units that go in here. This one here, still for rent, I think. But some folks came and they're going in and out of here on a regular basis. So I don't know if it's family. My wife said she talked to him, it was family or something, but the kids are still sleeping. It's early yet. It's real early. The roosters are crowing. We got a bunch of them over on this side now that chimed in. It's just amazing, the big thing. I also saw in the development here too, there's a dude down there. He's got a whole like chicken farm going on, and one of the deals was you weren't supposed to have that in here, but that's something I notice. Rules here, they bend them quite often, and no matter what the rules are, if nobody complains, they just let it go, which I guess that's cool. That doesn't bother me any. You know, the only thing I really have a problem with is the dogs, and it's not me. If it was just me, I wouldn't worry about it. But I'm worried about the kids getting bit, you know, and having to get the rabies shots and all this kind of stuff. So I'm not into that at all. These dogs running around. The one neighbor put his up. You know, talk to him. Pretty cool guy. And we haven't seen that female out here in a while. they did come and get the mean dog that was running around here. The association came in, boop, that was it. They rounded that thing up real quick. So, and I like the fact the security guy, you see the security guard making rounds through here at nighttime. I thought they just would do one late, but no, they pretty much come through here quite a bit, looking around and stuff like that. So that's kind of cool. The neighbor did mention about his friend getting in at 4 a.m. We talked to him about that, and they said, yeah, that was a newer guard. He had complained, and then I questioned it, and they said, no, sir, it won't happen again. And when we want somebody in, we have to go up there and tell them, or they call, which is really cool. They'll call. But when we had to run out the other day, just for a minute when our friends was coming, so we stopped at the guard shack, told them what kind of car it was, and what their name was. And they said, okay, and then when we got back, they were here already. And they came right to the back here. The guards told them right where we were, which was kind of cool because we didn't. We weren't gone long, but we were waiting on them. They said they'd be here from around 10 to 11, and we waited till like 12:30. And I said, sweetie, we got to get this done before the traffic gets too crazy. And then sure enough, when we left, that's when they showed up. So that's Filipino time, though. And you can't blame them. You never know what kind of traffic you're going to hit here. If there's any kind of an accident on the road. That's what I'm saying. If you got health problems, it's not the place for you. Have yourself an exit strategy, too. Just a quick thing. We had a neighbor. I really liked this guy. He was a jeepney driver and just a real happy fellow. Had beautiful daughters right next door to us, and his wife was a real sweetheart. Their English was pretty good, so I was able to talk to him quite a bit. He used to come up to the motorcycle shop when we were working and chew the fat with us, and I loved the guy. Had a heart attack, and the heart attack didn't kill him. It didn't, not immediately, didn't kill him. He went for a few days, but they didn't have the money. So the hospital, they paid him what they owed him. They let him out. A couple days later, he was gone. So there's no social welfare net here for you guys that come. It's just not there. I do recommend you have the PhilHealth because that'll get you in the door. That'll definitely get you in the door. And I did see a thing that the government here passed, one that if you don't pay, at least they let you out. But if you don't have the money to start paying for things, when you're in the hospital, every time we've been in for any reason, they send you to do something, and you got to get your watch. They call them a watcher. They have somebody stay there with you at the hospital. That person has to go down and pay it, and then come back with the receipt before they do anything. I mean, it's a business. It's a business to make money, and if they just let everybody get it for free like they do in the States, they'd go out of business. It is a business. You got to remember that when you come here. The healthcare system is a business. They're in it to make money. Period. End of story. They always say the Hippocratic Oath and to do no harm and blah, blah, blah and all this stuff. But here it's a business. It's to make money. There's very few of them that do anything for free. Now, when we had the kids, we paid. It averaged for it had to be C-sections on all three. And we paid right around $60,000. Had the PhilHealth, though. Had PhilHealth. And that helped. That knocked a good bit of that off of there. But you have to pay. I mean, you just had to pay it. Now, we talked to the doctor and told her, I says, look, I don't have all of that right now. I don't have the full amount of that, but I'll have it, as time moves forward. So what that doctor did, she was very cool. Got to be our friend, and she said, I'll waive my fee, but you have to pay the hospital. So we got that. We did pay the hospital bill and all that kind of stuff, but her bill, we paid that over the next couple months, 2 months, I think it took us. And then when we had the last one here, we were better set. We were better set here for Momo. Even though before he was born, I had to go to the States myself because I had some trouble. But we had the exit plan. You have to have that. You have to have that here. in case if something happens. And you can even zip to India also. But the problem is now with this COVID stuff going on, of getting travel anywhere here. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. How many people died from that? Honestly. You know, a lot of people get on there and they'll say, "Oh, you know, you shouldn't be talking about this. It's bad. You better go get your shot, and you better hide in your house and wear your, put on a full body suit." Blah blah. Come on, guys. You know, I'm just getting fed up with it. But how comes there's nobody counting the cost of people who didn't go to the hospital and died because they didn't get the care they needed? Where's those numbers? Come on, you got people here. Me, I had to boogie. I had to get out of here when I was in trouble. You go to the States to have a procedure done on my heart. Needed to be done. I wouldn't have lived. Period. They even said so. And I was able to get out and get it taken care of. How many people died because all of a sudden they can't do that? That's not being counted. Oh, he died of this and that. Of course, they'll mark it a COVID death. I'm sure they did already. I still laugh about that girl whose husband got killed. It makes me think it's a money thing, but the story I got was he was killed on the way home from work, got hit by a truck on his motorcycle, and why they would test a dead guy, but they tested a dead guy who was healthy and going to work every day, said he had COVID with tests that we know that are faulty. So she was having a fit because now she couldn't have the body. It was a special burial that they took care of that she had to pay for and all this kind of stuff. And here, when it comes to the dead here, I know in my country, like when Grandpa died and all this stuff, you go visit. Here, it's a regular thing. I mean, we have some of our friends that's parents that passed away, and there's a big picnic out there at their burial site every year, and even not just once a year. It's many times. My wife and I, we've gone to her dad's place of rest, you might call it, many times, many times. So that's something else to think of too. You know, we're thinking of mortality and hospital stuff. What I've seen so far with the burials here, you can get like in the States where they put you in the ground and that's a one-time. From what I understand, that's a one-time fee. You buy your lot and then you don't have to pay no more. And my wife had bought some lots years ago. But if you put them in what they call those White Houses or apartments where they stack them up, her dad, when he was in there, they put you in a big one in the box, and you pay for 5 years. When the 5 years is up, you got to go pay again. And then what they do is they take you out of that big one, they pull you out, they knock the little block out, and they pull you out of that, and they take all the bones out and they put them in a little box, just a little cardboard box, and then you have to pay again. You pay again for the much smaller one, but it's much cheaper. And they put you in a little tiny one. They poke all the bones in there. And like I say, you pay again, payable every 5 years. You stop paying, they take the bones out. Don't know what they do with them. Maybe they pitch them. I imagine that's what they would do. But nobody cares. Who cares? You know what I mean? And that's the way that'll go here. In the States, I remember going to graveyards where you've seen people that passed away in 1850. You know what I mean? So, on the East Coast and stuff like that. But here, I doubt you'll see that too often. They just don't seem to do that too much, unless it's a famous person or something. But you have all this stuff in your mind that's going to happen, because it will. It's just the way it goes in this country. And I'm glad Mom was able to get down there. There's one nice thing. There's a bus that takes you from here to Carmona. We did talk to the young fella down there, and it's just right from both malls. Both malls have a terminal. We thought it was just the S&M, but both malls have a terminal, and that's nice because a lot of our friends will come to visit. Hey, good morning, handsome. How you doing, buddy? Good morning, baby boy. There's my Matty boy. Hi, handsome. Granny had to go home, buddy. She went home. Okay. So But another thing, too, the ride's not that bad. If our friends come on their motorcycles, we're supposed to have a visit on the 22nd from all our friends. I believe that's a weekend. And they'll take the motorcycle through. They'll just cut up through Salang to Gai Tai. We've done the trip on the motorcycle ourselves. It's not that bad of a ride. If we take the highway, it's about an hour or so from where we used to live. But if you take that road, there's stretches where you can really boogie. I was on that road where we were doing 90 kilometers an hour for big amounts of time. And when we went to Batangas other times, we went at night. When my wife and I were first together and wanted to go down to a beach resort or something, we went at nighttime, and I could boogie. And she's all for that, jumping on the back of the bike and going. We're still wanting to get a bike. I wanted to look at the CRF 150L, but nobody seems to have them, so it's going to wind up probably with the WR 155R, and that seems to be the one. And here, you go around here, there's 4 or 5 Yamaha shops, and they all got one featured right in the front window. And they got a lot of the Yamaha shops are like full service shops here. They got all their bikes in some of them. There's small ones, small shops, and then the biggest bike they'll have, the most expensive, are these 155Rs. Aerox is a popular one. But nice. But there's a couple big ones that even got their big bikes in there, 900s and stuff like that. So the Yamaha is really putting their stuff out there, where Honda, they just took a crap in this area to me. They don't seem to, all they want to sell is their little piddly cheap bikes, tricycle bikes and cheap crap. Maybe nobody wants them. I did sit on that CRF one time, and the suspension, I wanted a nice soft ride, but for me, I pretty much could have bottomed it out just jumping up and down on it, with sitting static still. So, it would have definitely had a spring, but what I'm really wanting is, I'm wanting to ride on the Cloud. I years ago, I remember guys would get these little Econo boxes, and I did buy one when the fuel crunch was really on and gas was real expensive, and guys would buy these little tiny cars. And I bought one for my wife, so she had a car to get around in, a good car. And but I would drive the old Lincolns, these big old Lincolns I could pick up for nothing. Nobody wanted them. And my brother, he would buy the big old Cadillacs because you get them for nothing. I remember one time he went out at a car dealer for $900, and he picked up this Cadillac Calais. I mean, this thing was just mint, cream puff. That's what they used to put on the front of them, cream puff. Ran great. He never had any problems with it. Me, I picked up Lincolns. I picked up a 79 Lincoln one time. Had the 400. That's when they were starting to downsize the motor, and this thing had nothing wrong with it. I mean, it was one owner. It sat in the garage all the time. The guy got it when he retired, and it just was beautiful. It had like a green Landau top and the green pinstriping in the seats, and it was off-white. And I remember where I was living one time, some friends came over to visit, and they're like, "Hey, why don't you fix the road? Up the drive to the house. Why don't you fix the road? It's really bumpy." And I'm like, "What bumps?" You don't like my road, fix it yourself, or get a Lincoln. That they just ride like you're on a cloud, and that's what I want in the motorcycle. One thing I have noticed in this area that I'm really happy about, when you stay away from these little side road town places, there's not that many speed bumps. I don't see so many speed bumps in this area. Now, when we went exploring the other day, and we cut through, and there'd be like this little barren guy or something like that, and they'll have 7 or 8 of them in a row. It's okay. One guy gets a speed bump, and the neighbor gets jealous, and he's got to have 2. It's like a status symbol here. But we'll do when we get the bike, we'll do some more exploring around this area. I do want to get some moto vlogs going. I'm just, every time I want to go get the bike, it's like, oh, we got to do this, we got to do that. And then I use the money for it. I had one I was going to get because we were going to make a tricycle out of it next year, and we used it for this. And you're setting up a house, guys. I was telling my wife in the beginning, you go through a lot of money, and then here when you see something, I'm going to say it again. I'll say this on every dang video. If you see something you and your spouse likes, buy it. You go buy it right now, because if you don't, we actually went back and went to the store where I got this nice little table, and guess what? They don't have it anymore. Can you get it anymore? Oh, don't know, sir. Voila. They do that. They just don't know. So I took my own advice and I bought it. But here, it just kept, every time I turned around, it was another 5 or 10 grand to do this and that. We did get some things from Lazada that are going to be delivered yet, things to go over the toilet and all that. And I told my wife, look, we got plenty of food. She's got some money in her purse, emergency money, and me, I'm broke. No beer for me. But it's how it goes. It's just it's setting up a house. I've done it before. It gets expensive. It gets very expensive, and we've got the kids here, and we want to get it set up real nice. I'm not in any big hurry for a TV or anything like that, but I definitely want to have a couch so we could sit down and a proper dining room table so we could sit and eat. The kids are having a blast eating on the floor, though. Kids adapt really well, and they don't seem to care. But I want to get her set up, get it set up nice. We're finding where everything goes now, and I'm being a stickler on, hey, it's got to go here. Don't put that over there. Put it back where it goes when you're done. That's one of my big things. I remember when I had my gun shop, I wound up locking the door when I leave and wouldn't let anyone in, because if I set something down, a certain tool, a certain punch that was just for, say, a Smith & Wesson or something, and I set it down right here, if somebody would pick it up and move it 12 inches, I couldn't find it because it wasn't where I put it. And I'm not one that likes to go hunting for stuff. It ticks me off. So, there's just going to be places here where everything sets. You take something out of something I was trying to get through to the girls here, instead of taking one thing out of the box and then throwing this box on top of here and all. No, you take a box, you empty the whole thing, and then you throw the box out. You don't just start moving stuff, because you move it. Now we've got, my wife did a real good job on this, the storage stuff here. She's getting that all in, and she wants the first thing done is the platforms for the bed. Now I could make them. I could make them because you're not really going to see them, and I could make them in pieces so that it's easy to move. There's a lumber place right up the road. I could just go buy an inexpensive circular saw and get those made. I already got the screw gun and all the stuff I need there, but she's wanting to buy it. Oh, because it'll be so much nicer. It's going to be under the bed. I can get the rough-hewn wood. Heck, I can even find somebody with a planer to plane it if she's really worried about that. But I don't get. I made furniture when I was young. I made a hutch. I made this beautiful hutch one time that the woodshop teacher said, "Hey, can we enter that in a competition?" And he entered it in a high school competition, and the dang thing won. I did it different. I didn't have the money that a lot of the other kids had when I was making it, but I had a whole bunch of walnut wood, and I beat it with chains and made it rustic looking. I used chicken wire and poured resin in wax paper to make the glass, so it looked like old glass from the 1800s or 1700s or whatever. And I got drawer pulls and stuff like that, and door pulls and stuff from an old cabinet I had found. They were actually like a wrought iron door pulls, and this thing, when it was all done, it looked like it was made in the 1700s. And I found in a book a picture of a label. I can't remember, Strounds or something. I think it started with an S, of a label. And I had one of the ladies in the art department at the school, make me up a burnished label, because back then they were doing Confederate money and stuff, and make it agent and all that. And we made a sticker for the back that we stuck on there. We saw pictures in the book how they were stuck. They were always stuck on this angle, and I stuck that on there. So we bootlegged this Strounds or something thing, and it just really got a lot of points on it. Plus everything was dovetailed. All the drawers were dovetailed. It just was made really nice, and all the joints on it, instead of like modern, where at that time we were not biscuit joints, but we were using dowels and stuff like that. No, it was all hand cut with a chisel, big ovals, and then that was pushed through the sides and finished, and it just came out really good. I went ahead and I used old motor oil for the dents and scrapes in it when we antiqued it. And I did that, and then on the big bottom plate I took brass filings from the machine shop and had those ones put on under a sander, just to get them as small as they could, and I ground those into the finish. And then that part I did, all those surfaces I did in orange shellac. I didn't have the money to do it, had to thin that stuff out, and then I put the finish over top of all of it, and that thing, it just popped. It just was absolutely a beautiful thing. I wound up getting a hefty price for it when I sold it. I couldn't keep it. Young man can't keep something like that. Yeah, I couldn't anyway. And I had some woman from across the street looked at it, and she was wanting to know how much I wanted for it, and I says, just make me an offer. And I was thinking, boy, if I could get $500, I'd be really happy. And she says, well, I'll give you $4,000 for it. I'm like, cool. Got my first really nice car on that one. But that's so, and my wife doesn't realize if I could get some tools, I could do this kind of stuff. But having them, I might not use them. I got a lot of tools now I don't use that much that I brought here, just going to rust. I would like to have a welder and weld some things up. I got to get to doing something here pretty soon. After this house is all done, I have to get some sort of a job or something, because just hanging around like this is not good. I don't think it's good for my health, mental and physical. I need to get out and do something again. Retirement, not for me. not for me, just hanging around the house. It's not going to work. Something else too, when you guys come, just make sure you got something you can do. It'd be okay if I started something here to do. If I had just something I could make, build things, something like that. Heck, build birdhouses. I don't know, something just to keep going. Maybe take orders from people. I do want to say, yesterday we used our oven for the first time. It took a minute because the instruction book they gave said you had to light it with fire on the tube, and I'm trying to light it with. You can't do it with the piezo igniter, and it's like the instructions, they're not giving you any pictures how to do it. And I was like, what the heck is this? So I had to take the whole bottom piece out and look at it, and sure enough, I see a piezo igniter down there. So this fire tube is, I guess if that burned, not working. And then also the knob, you push it in for the oven. So it doesn't push in when it's straight. You have to turn it backwards, clockwise, and then push it in to light it. And then you let it out once the thermostat goes, and then you turn it to your heat settings. But no instructions to tell you that. Nowhere in the book. We went through the entire book. That was kind of silly. But we had this big pork shoulder. I cooked it I told my grandma and my wife, I'm going to cook this. And I've never had a pork shoulder as good as that since I've been in the Philippines. Because what I did is I boiled it in the pressure cooker. And then when I was done with that, I take that out, put it on a roasting pan, salt and pepper, that's it. You don't got to overspice this stuff. And then I put it in there with no cover on it at all to brown it. Had the heat turned up real high, and while that was browning, I threw corn, cabbage, potatoes, and we had some of the leafy stuff that Mama picked from over there. She's finding good gulai to grab, and then we threw that in the stock that was left over from boiling the pork and cooked that up. And everybody here there's nothing left. It was a really big pork shoulder. There's nothing left. And the corn, the veggies, everything was gone. The kids went nuts over it. Mama loved it. Faye she was like, wow, this is really good. Well, I can cook like that. It's just I need the tools to do it, and I finally have an oven. Now, this oven, I was watching the propane. It's extremely efficient. If you want to get an oven here in the Philippines, this is definitely a good model to have. It's not going through the propane. My little stupid 3-burner one I bought, it did a great job and everything, but it was definitely a gas hog. It was the big Lincoln. It's the big Lincoln, and this one here is a Ford Escort. It's just how it is. But that's how things are going here. Just remember, guys, when you're coming here, if you got any major health problems, you better have that all rectified before you come, and have yourself a plan, because if not, this place is definitely not for you. I had some health problems, but at least I was able to get them taken care of. I still have health problems, but it's ongoing. It's an ongoing thing. The stomach in the last few weeks has not been really bad. Some of you guys said about that Pepsi. I think it's Pepsin something. I take that before I eat every time now. No problem. I'm having no problem now. I watch the videos. I watch every video, and I see I'm belching. But you know what happens when I get up in the morning? I drink a quart of water, and that makes me burp. I burp from water. It's just crazy. And then usually after I drink my coffee, it settles down. So it's just one of these weird things in my stomach. But the heart rate, if I can keep the stomach from having too much trouble, then I don't get the crazy heart rate. And I know everybody says, "Oh, try this, try that stuff." Guys, I was in the States for a week or so short of 6 months, so I wouldn't lose my visa. Going to doctors 3 and 4 times a week, most of the country. I traveled around from Cleveland Clinic. I went here, I went there, and they basically, sorry, we don't know what's wrong. When they did the thing on the heart, they said, this is what we can do to minimize that, but we don't know what causes it. They just can't, everybody. And at the Cleveland Clinic, they don't have one doctor that tells you what to do or anything like that. They have the whole board goes over your case, and they all put their heads together. That's why I think that's one of the best hospitals around. And they said, we have no idea. And then they said, we can do this work, but we have to do it manually. And if you go down to this other hospital over here in Pittsburgh, they have the new telemetry machine, and this would be better for. So they weren't even trying to make money on it. They were just trying to get the best care. Because I guess if they poke a hole in an artery or something, they can't do nothing to you. They got to go in there and repair that, and then you got to sit and wait. You got to wait until that heals up. And I remember when they told me I'm laying on the bed, and they ran up through this artery, and they said, "Do not move. You have to lay there." And they had big compresses on there, and believe me, I was like, I'm not moving. That's a major artery in your leg, and you cut that thing open, you're a goner. You're a goner. Even if it bleeds inside, you'll bleed out quick. So they had me on that one. But you just have to. If out of anything you get out of this, just be real careful if you got health problems. I've seen some people here that got health problems, and they had to skedaddle back to where they came from, and they have a house here and a wife here and all that, and they can't come back because there's just not the care. And some of these guys come here with not enough money, and you can, with healthcare, you can run out of money here too, but it's so much cheaper. It's so much cheaper here. Now, my insurance, the way it works, they won't let it work here. I can't use it here. They got to set up that. If I was visiting as a tourist, I can use it. Now, if I leave here and go anywhere, then I'm traveling, and it's in the passport, and it covers, but not because I'm living here, which is, to me, is absolutely ridiculous. I've been petitioning to change that because it's so cheap. But I'm just not getting that. But if I leave, it's good, and I can get reimbursed. is what happens. It's, they sent me a big whole thing on that, I can be reimbursed for it. So anything that I do, I even do the conversions on it in pesos, anything we do, because I do have the family covered also. Can't the wife because she's not a citizen, but the kids, if something happens to them, and then we just have to pay here. And when we're done paying here, then I send it in, and 6-8 months later, we get a check that the banks don't want to cash. And it goes on. I think the first time we did that, it was almost a year and a half before we got the money. And then, because it was funny, because it had a thing on the check that if it wasn't cashed by this certain date, it was void. So I asked them, can you not put that on there? And they said, no, we have to put that. It's like, so the troubles, you're going to have more troubles here with banking than anything else. And I hear some people say, oh, we don't have that problem, and we can get our stuff deposited straight into a bank here, and blah, blah, blah. Well, not my pension. The union just, no. It had to go into an American account. That's the way that goes. And it's one of their rules. They got funny rules. I don't know why. I don't really know anybody else who's IBEW and what, how they're doing it, because maybe they found a loophole that they're using. If anybody's from IBEW or IBEW, if you're doing something different here with transfers, let me know, because I would love to be able to transfer it in. If we go to the States next time, I heard if you get that HSBC bank account in the States, they have those here. It's the only bank that I know of that they have here. And somebody said they were going to get open up a BPI in the States too. But you have to be there to open up the account. I went down we have an account with HSBC or whatever it's called. And I went ahead down there and said, can I open one here that's like no, I have to physically go to the States and open up an account there. And then the money goes into that account, and then I just transfer it here. They changed it into pesos, no fee, from what I'm hearing. And that's from the bank. So, I would like to do that next time we go in, but there's no travel right now. And also something for us, it's something that we have to plan for, because that is a big, expensive trip, getting all these kids piled up in a plane. You figure 5 people, round trip ticket, that's going to be pretty expensive. So we have to save for that. And we want to go, we want to go to the beach here. We want to do some stuff here too. I told my wife next month, before we do anything for the house, the first thing on the list, we're gonna take off and we're gonna go to the ocean. We're gonna go stay at one of these little resorts, and we're gonna leave on Friday early, and just spend the whole weekend, or maybe even go through the week. It's okay for us to go through the week, and we might get a better price and just stay down there over the week, and spend some time. We just need to get our heads aired out and go spend some time in the ocean. And Dorothy can take her camera, I'll take my waterproof stuff, and we'll get some nice things at a resort. We used to go to one called Matabunkai. It's not the real expensive one, it's the one with the brown sand. And we had a place we went. I told Faye I'd like to go to a different one out closer to here. We can get there real easy from here, but somebody said if you go through Padre Garcia and you just keep going, you're going to run right into the ocean. That's just one of the neighbors that was talking to my wife, so I didn't get the full story on it. I still cannot find a map, and this Google Maps that I'm even doing on my phone, it just, you go to zoom out, it just deletes a whole bunch of roads as it zooms out. It's just not a real good system. I wish I had a Batangas detailed map. But they're also building so many roads here. There's a new road going in we saw, and it looks like, yeah, it's a great road on paper, but guess what? It doesn't have over or underpasses on it. It's got intersections. So, here you go. Let's go ahead and build another traffic problem. It's not. I don't think it's going to help. It's supposed to be something that skirts Lipa. It goes around, I guess. Let's see what. I guess it skirts the north part of town, and they're showing pictures. It looks great and all that, but there's no over and underpasses. I see them building intersections. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're going to build something that goes over or goes under. I'm not sure. But as of right now, it looks like just a regular straight intersection, and they're pouring concrete on a ton of it. And if it's going to be intersections, it's just going to be another nightmare area. It's like these roundabouts here. They're a great idea. I don't mind them. I was in England. I didn't drive there. I was there. And the people whip through those things. They just cook right through them, and it works well. But it just don't work here. The discipline's not there in the driving, and they'll if it's slowed down to the right, they'll shoot over to the left and just make traffic. It just does. It's like the counterflow here. I just saw a thing on Facebook. If you could be a cop and bust people for one pet peeve that you have and be able to bust everybody, I would say it would be the counterflow. Somebody said passing on the right. That's my second. But the counterflow here that they do all the time, you'll be in your lane traveling along, and then all of a sudden you have to stop because both of your lanes are filled up with people going the other way, and you're dead stopped because of that. And traffic cops standing there, looking around, doing nothing. That's just something that it is my pet peeve here in the Philippines. It'd be my pet peeve anywhere, no matter where I go. You just don't counterflow. It's that those lines in the middle of the road are a wall. That's a wall. You don't cross that. I had a cop explaining that to me one time. I was sitting in a coffee shop. I was driving, and I went past him, and he was giving somebody a ticket. And I had passed that person before I pulled in. He come up and sit right next to me at the bar. I didn't sit at the table. I sat like at the little counter. And I said, "Well, what'd you nail them for?" He said, "Crossing a double yellow line." And I said, "Yeah, well, it's late at night. Not too bad." He says, "Nope, that's a wall. You do not cross that." And then guess what? I'll guarantee you that lady that got that ticket will never do that again, because I'm sure it cost her a lot of money. And that's what would happen here too. But they're starting to hit people. They're starting to hit people on stuff. I've seen them getting them for this stopping in the crosswalks. Don't do that here. They're starting to give tickets. I think because of this COVID, there's no money. So what they're doing is they're pushing stuff like that, and they're nailing you for it. But they don't. If there's so many people doing wrong, they kind of look the other way. But I would think pick one out. Just pick one out and nail them. Just get as many as you can. If you need money, if these traffic cops need money, all they got to do is sit there like they're doing at the crosswalks and walking out. 3 or 4 of them walk out and give everybody sitting in there a ticket. So, and you have to watch. It kind of sucks too, because what happened to us and my wife, she gets a little frustrated too. We're sitting there behind a crosswalk, and people will pull up in front of us and block you, and then they'll start coming in, and we get stuck at the light the second time because of that. But I'm not going to sit in that crosswalk and get a ticket for that. I don't want them taking my license. They've never done it so far in all the time I've been here, and I don't want them to. I don't need to be on their radar anywhere. So, just don't. I'm actually, like when Tim was here, he said I was a very cautious driver. I am a very cautious driver here, and I hope the good Lord rides with me every time we go. I ask him to ride with us, because this stuff here can happen anytime. Right at our big crossroads where we used to live, there's a big hill coming from GMA down the National Highway, and it's all downhill for a long stretch. And this big truck with no brakes, the brakes went out on this old piece of junk. It was laying upside down in the road. It hit the back of a jeepney, killed some people, maimed a whole bunch of other people, and the brakes went out on this big old piece of junk, and he smashed. And it was one of those real big dump trucks, and you can get snuffed out any second, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and let you go. It's getting long. There's my neighbor walking his little puppy. They got real friendly little furry puppy dogs. They take very good care of their pups, and they're just super nice people. I talk to them quite a bit. So I'm going to let you go. Don't forget to pray for each other. This is Rick Shaw out.